Good evening, everybody. At the outset, I would like to thank Mr. Joseph Washington of the Madras University for having offered me this opportunity. And I express my sincere thanks to Mr. Pari sir, and Dr. Chokalingam sir, Professor of the Arts College Vellore, Muthiram Arts College Vellore. And in this session, we are going to see about the adolescents who are the pillars of our future and the challenges which they face and how we need to overcome those challenges. So these are the various units we are going to focus in this session. And I hope that this will be a fruitful interaction and we'll be able to move the wheels of our work towards a very prospective future as we go on with this discussion, and we can develop some good strategies also so that it will be supportive for these adolescents to overcome these challenges and be as successful citizens. And as we see, this period of adolescence, usually it is said to be between the age of 13 to 17, that is the 17 and then moving up to the age of 19, teenage. So it is a stage when the individual is neither a child nor an adult. So during this period, we should see that these children are nurtured in the proper manner so that this adolescence is guided and properly channelized because they have a lot of talents, they have a lot of energy which need to be channelized. So we need to move these adolescents in a way that they do not deviate from the right behavior. So it is the basic duty of the parents to guide them. And usually we see that the children are taken up between the age of 0 to 18. And we see that the adolescent age is between the age of 13 to 19. But clinically, we say that the adolescence moves even up to the age of 23, 24, or even up to 25. So that is the age of completion of the adolescence, and then they move to the period of the adulthood. So we shall see how this stage is coming and then how these stages are blossoming in the life of an individual. So when we see who is a child, that is the question which is coming before us, who a child is. So we usually say, according to the Convention of the United Nations, that the child is a person who is below the age of 18, that is from the age of 0 to 18 years. So according to the UNCRC's convention, the child means a child is a person who is every human being below the age of 18 years.
That's true.
Then when we come to the protection of the child, each and every child has to be protected in a proper manner. And nowadays we see that this protection is not completed in all the life's children because these children are more vulnerable to many abuses and various situations. So what is child protection and what is child right? These things we need to ponder over. UNICEF considers child protection as the prevention of or responding to the incidents of abuse, exploitation, violence, and neglect of children. This includes the commercial sexual exploitation, trafficking, child labor, and harmful traditional practices such as female genital mutilation, cutting, and child marriage also. So when we take these incidents, the abusal of children, the abusal can be physical, mental, sexual abuse, emotional abuse. So there are so many types of abuses which the children face nowadays, and many types of violences are taken against the children. So how these children are handled during their childhood, that is what is going to form their adolescent stage. And there are so many children who are neglected by the parents, by the society, by the own peer group in which they are being grown up. So this negligence also causes an impact on the child, which is reflected in the adolescent stage. So whatever the adolescent is going to express in their behavior, it is going to be the reflection of their childhood. So this includes all the types of treatments which the child is receiving. So if a child is going to receive love, care and protection in the proper manner, the child is going to be a good adolescent and bloom out into an individual who is very responsible and who is very positive in the society. When these things are lacking in the child's childhood elements, then the adolescent stage is becoming a question mark. So the pillars need to be formed in a concrete manner. So the foundation need to be strong. So when we speak about the adolescence and the positive physical, mental and all-round personality development of an adolescent, we need to take into account the protection of child and the child right also. According to the UNCRC, the child rights are minimum entitlements and freedoms that should be afforded to all persons below the age of 18, regardless of race, color, gender, language, religion, opinions, origins, wealth, birth status, or ability, and therefore apply to all people everywhere. So it should be unbiased. It should not go along with any of these discriminations or even the discrimination uh, through sex or race. So any type of discrimination against the children is not encouraged. So they need to be treated equally according to their own abilities. They have to be treated equally and they should not be discouraged with their negative elements.
Continue.
So if we take up the discouragement part, each and every child has got its own nature of choosing what they want to do and what they want to become. So it is not the child who is going to decide, but it is the parents who are deciding nowadays in many cases, so that the children are trusted with the parents' wishes. So in which case the child is not able to develop in the right manner in which field they want to bloom out. And coming to the violence against children, according to UNICEF, violence against children can be physical and mental abuse and injury, neglect or negligent treatment, exploitation and sexual abuse. So, physically, mentally abused children, they also have psychosocial problems and also physical problems. So, and these things lead to a lot of mental stress. And the injuries caused also create a scar not only physically, also mentally, which doesn't leave their mind throughout their life. So these scars are expressed during the period of their adolescence and also adulthood when they are growing up. So they are stressed to that extent that they express these scars in their expressions of personality when they are moving around in the society or towards their family. And the children, when they are neglected, they are also becoming arrogant. Or when they are being negligent, when they receive negligent treatment, they become arrogant. And the children who are exploited also are abused in a mental status with lot of stress. And violence may take place in the homes, schools, orphanages, residential care facilities, on the streets, in the workplace, in the prisons, and in the place of their detention. So wherever they are, in any place, violence may take place. So we need to take care that these children are safely protected and they are not put into such situations which is endangering their overall development. Such violence can affect the normal development of a child, impairing their mental, physical, and social being. So we have to be cautious enough to provide a very healthy environment. And in this clipping, we can see various pictures depicting the types of child abuse. So in this, we see a child who is seeing through the window, and the child is not being sent to school in the right stage. So there are so many children who are not put into the school life, and they lose their early stages of their education, because of which when they grow up they see that they are not academically fit in their peer group. So this causes a lot of differences and their knowledge is going a waste. And these children are those who are pushed into a lot of skill works, and they are losing their education at their early stages of life. So we need to see that each and every child is put into the classroom, and the child who is out of the classroom is out of the society. So every child must be given basic education, and it should be at least up to the high school or higher secondary level, maximum possible to each and every child in whatever economic status they are or social status they are. This basic schooling is very important for every child. And in the next picture, we are able to see that the elders are watching some media program, and the child is playing in a lonely atmosphere. So this causes lot of loneliness in the mind of the child, and the child may not be able to express this verbally, but still the child will be able to express this stress in a different manner by its anger, or not taking proper nourishment, or not being able to give the response properly to the parents, and not being able to move around with the relatives or friend circle in a proper manner. So there are various types in which the child may express, and the child may also break the toys. We can see that some children easily break the toys, and they are very arrogant in their behavior in very small age itself. This is because they are not able to tolerate the stress, and they are not able to express it because they are very small. So it is the role of the elders to be played in the right manner, and they need to take care of the children in the proper way, and they need to spend time with their children however small the children are. So these things only will form a when the parents are good enough to spend enough time with the children, and this will form a good beautiful stage of adolescence and emerge a successful adult from that child. So we need to spend maximum time with the children, especially the children at home below the age of 3.5 years, before they go for their schooling. And there are some pictures in which we see that the child is being sick, and the child is not being taken care of, and these children who are neglected will suffer physical abuse. This is also a type of physical abuse in which the child is not being taken care of when the child is sick. And then we see a picture where the children are being made to touch the private parts or other parts by the opposite gender people. So this is all a type of abuse in which the children are being threatened to do so. And there are pictures which show in the middle about the children doing household work. So in this case, you see that the children are shouldered with responsibilities beyond their age. So there are families in which the children do household work, and the elders go, they go out for work outside, or the elder children are made to take care of the younger ones, or the younger children work for the elder children. So all these types are abusals in which the child is abused in the domestic circle itself. And then there is a picture which shows that the child is beaten. So a child who is simply beaten will definitely express its fear and also arrogant behavior in future. Beating will give lot of pain to the child, and this child will not be able to express its problems in a nice manner to the parents. So the parents or elders for handling the children need to correct them with words. Initially, if you correct them with words, they will definitely respond, and they will change their behavior when they do small mistakes. But when their child is simply beaten, the child will next turn into a stubborn person who will wantedly do things to irritate the elders. And there is a picture which shows that the parent is demanding an A plus grade. So the children who are studying, they are always put into the stress of scoring the best marks wherever they are in the college or school, or wherever they are stressed to score the best marks in the class. Like each and every child has got its own potential, and every child is going to have a future with a good profession. So they need not be stressed always to get the topper in the class. So according to the ability of the children and the interest of the children, they can choose the field they want in future, and accordingly the parents can guide the children. So this is how the children need to be handled and not to be stressed always with good marks and the topper in the class. There are so many parents who stress so much that sometimes I had heard of some cases, a few cases in which the parents commit suicide if the children are not going to the courses which the parents are willing them to take. So there are parents, if the children do not get a seat in the medical college or engineering college, the parents commit suicide. There are very few cases who also behave like that. So this is not a positive attitude and does not bring any goodness to the family, both on the sides of the parent and the child. So according to the abilities of the children, the parents need to support the children and try to bring them up. And the pictures on the last row, they show that the children are being uh, subjected to some mockery. So there is a child who is physically challenged, and this challenged child is suffering some mockery. So such children should not be treated in that manner. They need to be treated equally as the normal children. And there are children who are in the peer group and they are put down by their own peer group. That is also not right. So that is not good friendship also. So there may be weaknesses and positive things among the friends. So we should not take care of the people who are weak in this manner. We need to treat them equally and we need to pull them up to come to our platform in an equal manner. So even in the peer group, the children should be treated in the proper manner. And coming to physically challenged children, the parents need to take extra effort to make them realize their talents, because these children will definitely have some special talents which need to be identified and they should nurture upon those talents. So these are the various ways in which we can uh, avoid the types of various abuses of the children and we can mold them into good citizens. Coming to the types of abuse, this definition is derived from the WHO. Child abuse is having various forms. First one is the physical abuse. The physical abuse is when a child is being physically harmed. So this physical harm does not only cause pain to the child but also causes some scars on the body of the child also sometimes, and some scars may be permanent also. So these scars will always remind them of their physical abuse which they have suffered. And lot of physical abuse is being suffered by the children under child labor. And there are so many children under child labor, and we in our day-to-day life, we may be coming across children who are suffering various types of abuse. At least up to the age of 14, the children need to be put into education. So if we see such children who are suffering any type of abuse, we need to be bold enough to take this notice and report it to. We can first initially talk to the parents of the child or find some way out to save the child from that abusal, especially child labor. And then we need to take some initiatives to put the child in the school. And then we have the emotional abuse. The two forms of emotional abuse are, one is humiliation and the other one is comparison. So there is failure to provide a supportive environment and primary attachment, and this causes emotional abuse in the child. Emotional abuse also is caused when the child is neglected by the family and put into a job or put in a different place to grow. Sometimes there are parents who are able to grow the children up, but they will put the children in the hostel because they don't want to take up the responsibilities of growing the child up in the home environment in their own family, because they have to shoulder many responsibilities. So that is not the right way. Just paying money and putting in the hostel is not the right way, because a lot of emotional abuse will be suffered by these children. And these are the children who leave their parents in the old age homes in the later stages. So care need to be taken against these children who can be grown with their own parents just for the sake of certain small reasons which are not very significant. The children need not be separated from the family. Being with the family is the core need for the children. It is the basic right of the child to grow in the family, and it is the basic responsibility and duty of a parent to grow the child in the family itself and not separating the children from the family. And coming to sexual abuse, the child maybe engaged in any sexual activity, maybe in the family itself with the evil attitude of the family members. Sometimes that happens, or sometimes the people from outside. I told you about various environments in which the child can be uh, abused in some cases. So even from outside, some dangers are there. So from the right age, the child has to be given the awareness about how to avoid such situations and safeguard the child. Earlier we were talking about good touch and bad touch. Nowadays we say no touch. No touch is taught to the children. So nobody need to touch the child unnecessarily. So this is how we need to create awareness and empower the child in a manner such that the child is able to face such situations in a bold manner and tide over those negative situations. And the next type of abuse is that the children are being neglected or negligent treatment, which is purposeful omission. So, as I said, when child is sick and if the child is not taken proper care of, the child will not feel the protection in the family. Naturally, it will show its behavior in a negative manner. So we should not neglect the children and their studies also. Just because we are paying the school alone need not take care of the child, or they just pay the fees for the tuition and the tuition people take care of the children. Not like that. The parents have to interact with the children and spend some time every day at home to take care of their emotional needs, academic needs, and all sorts of expressions which the child is coming and delivering. They must be able to be receiving that and interact with the children so that the children will be able to share whatever is happening during their day. So that should be there, and every day they can meet at least at the dining table, at least one time food they can take together in the family. Possibly the dinner time, everyone can be in the family together. So the togetherness in the family also will nurture the child in a nice manner and bring out a good adolescent who is successful as an adult. And then the next one is exploitation. Child is used for some form of labor or other activity that is beneficial for others. This is usually happening because the children are paid less. They can be made to work more and they can be paid less, because of which this child labor is taking place. And in many cases of child labor, we see that the parents are taking the income from the children as a supportive income, or there are parents who make the children, there are few parents who make the children to work and they are winning their bread from that money only. So some parents who are not responsible even take this money for drinking alcohol or any other wrong use, not only for the purpose of domestic expenses but for other expenses also. So in which case the future of the child is a very challenged one. So this individual is losing its academic platform, because of which he cannot emerge as a successful adult. And any of these that are potentially or actually harmful to your child's health, survival, dignity, and development are called as abuse. Then when we come to the rights of the children, the first right is the right to survival. A child's right to survival begins before a child is being born, because we see that there are so many children who they are not being born in this world because the parents decide in different ways. First of all, there is a group which decides that they need to take a child in the later stages of life, so they go for abortion. Or if the child is a girl child, even now there are few cases in which there is female infanticide. Recently, in the past 6 months also, we have seen some cases of female infanticide, and female feticide is also taking place still. And according to Government of India, a child life begins after 20 weeks of conception. Hence, the right to survival is inclusive of the child rights to be born, right to minimum standards of food, shelter, and clothing, and the right to live with dignity. So, survival of the child itself has become a question mark. So, we need to see that each and every child has its right to be born into this world. So we need not go into the act of aborting the child or doing child infanticide and female infanticide. And the next one is about the right to protection. This protection part also is a very threatening one to the children nowadays. A child has the right to be protected from neglect, exploitation, and abuse at home and elsewhere. So we saw about the various situations in which the children are being neglected or exploited or abused in the domestic arena or elsewhere. So in all these places, the child needs protection. So on one side we need to give protection, and on the other side we need to make the children aware of the various dangers which are existing, and we need to empower them with the right knowledge so that they will be safe in whatever situation they are put into. The next one is the right to participation. A child has a right to participate in any decision making that involves him or her directly or indirectly. So in a family, we need to ask the children also to decide about certain things according to their age. We can talk to them, we can discuss with them, and we can ask for their suggestions to be expressed. So this will make the children happy, and they will feel as a member of the family, and this will lead to healthy parenthood. And nowadays it's not enough that the parents are hardworking. It's not enough that they are good parents and hardworking parents. They also need to be smart parents. So only smart parents can win the life of the children nowadays. The days have become like that. We need to go like earlier they used to say that we need to be the ladders, but now we need to be like a lift. We need to grow along with the children, along with their knowledge. So those are the days now. And coming to the right to development, the children have the right to all forms of development, emotional development, mental development, physical development, etc. The emotional development is fulfilled by proper care and love of the support system, the mental development through education and learning, and physical development through recreation, play, and nutrition. So, when we see to all these elements, we should see whether these elements are existing in our day to day life nowadays. The words like recreation, play, and nutrition have become somewhere in the air because we are behind the smartphones and behind the media. So recreation means handling a smartphone and seeing, watching the TV. Play has no space in the lives of children nowadays, and nutrition is also not taken proper care of. So in these cases, we need to focus and we need to give the children a life which gives them a fruitful, healthy growth. And according to the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, the World War II, the League of Nations had adopted the Geneva Declaration of the Rights of Child in 1924, the first international legally binding document concerning child rights. The convention consists of 54 articles covering all four major categories of child rights, that is the right to life or right to survival, the right to development, right to protection, and the right to participation. So it came into force on the 2nd September 1990. So we have seen all these in details in the earlier clipping. And today the convention has been ratified by 192 countries. India signed and ratified the convention in 1992. The only two countries who have not ratified the treaty are the US and Somalia. Somalia has been unable to ratify due to the lack of a stable government, and US has signed the treaty showing their intention to ratify it. Now coming to the important act which is especially for the children, the Juvenile Justice Care and Protection of Children Act 2000. This is an act which is especially designed for the juvenile. A juvenile is a person below the 18 or 18 years, the age of 18 years. A juvenile is a person who is below the age of 18 years. The Government of India enacted the Juvenile Justice Act in 1986, and in 89 the General Assembly of the UN adopted the Convention on the Rights of a Child. Hence, in 2000, the old law was replaced by the Juvenile Justice Care and Protection of Children Act, And in this act, a child or juvenile is defined as a person who has not completed his or her 18th year of age. This act protects only the rights of children. The state is required to set up a number of institutions where the needs and protection of the juveniles may be fulfilled. And according to this act, all the agencies and institutions have been established by the government, and they are safeguarding the children and the rights of the children as per this act. And we can also see that we said that the juvenile is a person who is up to the age of 18, but we see that the adolescent is a person who is traveling between the age of 13 up to 19, and it also continues up to the age of 24 and 25. So this Juvenile Justice Act plays a major role during the age of adolescence. And in this act, a child who is in need of care and protection, they are dealt by the Child Welfare Committee. So whenever there is a child who is in need of care and protection, the Child Welfare Committee will view the case of the child, and it works under the executive, and rehabilitation and social integration is being made by the Child Welfare Committee. So these are the children who are from broken families, the victims of child labor, beggary, child marriage, delinquent children, neglected children, orphans, single parent children, and so on. And there is another category of children. They are the children who are in conflict with law. And the children in conflict with law are dealt by the Juvenile Justice Board. And the Juvenile Justice Board works under the judiciary. And it has the powers at par with the subordinate courts. And this Juvenile Justice Board will treat the children in a nice manner and move them to the special homes where they are given re-socialization activities. So they will be able to provide them affirmative activities and transform them into good adolescents who can be re-socialized and re-streamed into the society to lead a normal life as an adult. And the next one is the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act, that is called as the POCSO Act. This was implemented in the year 2012. This act is a very important act in the case of a juvenile, because there are so many cases which are affecting the children who are being abused in many manners. So this POCSO Act has been enforced in order to protect the child such that the perpetrators don't escape from their evil doings, and they are properly punished, and the child is protected. And because of the reflections of this act, others will have a fear to cause danger to the children. So in order to protect the children, this act has been implemented in an effective manner. So this act defines sexual offences against the children explicitly and into 5 categories. That is, the offense has been categorized into 5 categories. That is the penetrative offense, aggravated penetrative sexual assault, aggravated sexual assault, sexual harassment, and using a child for pornographic purposes. These are the various ways in which the children may be abused when it comes to the point of sexual offenses against the children. And this contributes to the enforcement of the right of all children to safety, security, and protection from sexual abuse and exploitation. So the children are totally safe when they are being supported by this POCSO Act. And this Act recognizes the Child Welfare Committee, that is the CWC, as a competent authority and places important responsibility to take decisions to protect the children. So according to this act, the children are the victims, and these victims are being protected, and they are given proper care, and they are able to bring the child back to its normal life. So this chart shows the various sections in which the types of punishments are given for the offences committed by the perpetrator. So in this, according to section 12, the imprisonment for 5 years and fine. And in the event of subsequent conviction, 7 years, it is under section 14, and this is using a child for pornographic purpose. For that type of offense, this punishment is given. And if it is a sexual harassment, in that case, the section 11 reads that the section 12 imprisonment 3 years and shall also be liable to fine. And if it is a sexual assault, according to the section 12, 7 of the POCSO Act, the section 11 says that not less than 3 years of punishment, which may be extended up to 5 years and fine. And then the next one is the aggravated sexual assault, in which the section 9 reads, according to section 10, not less than 5 years, which may be extended up to 7 years and fine. And then the penetrative sexual assault under section 3 says section 4, not less than 7 years, which may extend to imprisonment for life and fine. The aggravated penetrative sexual assault is under section 5 and under section 6 here, not less than 10 years, which may extend up to the imprisonment for life and fine. So these are the various punishments which are under the POCSO Act given relevant to the offences committed. So it is our duty to protect the children and also make them to bloom into adolescence. So they are facing various challenges right from their childhood itself. It is not that only during the stage of their adolescence they come into these problems. Right from their childhood they face all these problems, and it is our duty to protect them from their childhood and make them to bloom into their adolescence, during which they face more challenges because of the scars of their childhood. So I'm very thankful for you all for your patient listening and this opportunity. Thank you.